You know what the best part of my day is?
Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Is the music in the background all right? Is it too loud? There we go. Lowered it a little bit. Welcome to the stream. Today we're gonna have Rav on for a little bit. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Going pretty well. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm gonna try to do this. You know how.
The best part of my day is.
Hey, thanks for the subscription, Foxy. Where are my alerts? They are not up right now. I wonder why. That's too bad. Hope everyone's doing all right. Welcome to the new background for today's stream. Yeah, we're just gonna talk to Rav in a second. How's everyone's day going? My day is going pretty well. It's a pretty day out here. Is my mic loud enough for everybody? Hopefully it is. Yeah. It's gotten like back to like not summer heat, but like 90s out here. It's crazy. Yeah, we're reaching 6 days left of the campaign. We broke 200%, so that's pretty dope. Pretty happy about that. Hopefully we can get a little bit more going over the last week. Everyone checking out the video. It was amazing. Let me hit him up real quick. Where you at?
Oh, friends have got girlfriends.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Hey, did y'all get an alert when I streamed? I feel like my shit gets all weird. Alright, cool. Oh, cool. So Discord one went through. But if you follow me, it should go through too. Oh, wow. It's pretty humid out there in South Carolina, right? Cool, yeah. I would turn that off as well. I completely understand. Cool. Da-da-da-da. I did it manually. Let's see. I think the bot got turned off somehow. But I'm excited to have Rav on, because he was saying that I was a capitalist. But his infatuation with lowercase letters is getting out of hand. That's crazy. It's already getting up to 90 in Texas, which is crazy, but we get way hotter. And it's been a little humid, but it's still like getting cool during night. It's like you get through most of the summer, most of the early summer, you're still good in shade. It's just the sun that's really hot. And then in like August, the sun gets terrible. I mean, I'm sure if I told Bandu about it, they'd be able to fix it. I think I may have ruined it by like turning off some permissions and then turning back on, or maybe like the script on it went a little bit old. Huh. Maybe one day we'll have the Great Soup debate, but I don't think Rav is informed enough. I don't want to make him look stupid on his first stream here, you know? Yeah, brown sugar. I feel like that's like, from what I've heard, uh, Southern California weather. But, and then like, I didn't know this until recently that the Pacific Ocean, like I knew the Pacific Ocean was like cold, but like we have this thing called Barton Springs here. It's like a natural spring that like everybody loves. And part of the allure of it is that like when it's 110 degrees, the spring is still like 60 degrees and it's refreshing. But like if it's like 80 to 90 degrees, like lower than 90, maybe 70s, nobody's gonna go to it because the water's so cold. Then I met somebody from California and she was like, that is like perfect temperature. That's what the Pacific always is, which is crazy. I can't handle that. That's cold. I need like good old Texas lake 90-degree water. Yeah, I mean, if you are willing to do some stuff, that'd be cool. If you want to mess around with it. As long as other people in there are cool with it too.
All my friends have got girlfriends.
That's awesome. Yo, I don't know what's going on, but my alerts seem to be down, so I'm really sorry that I'm not seeing these follows. Let's go to my stream page, see if I'll see them there. I don't know why. Let's start small. Here we go. Let's see, oh yeah, here they are. Cool. Hello, Rav.
Hello, young man.
Welcome to the audio portion of the stream.
I'm viewing the video portion of the stream on the side.
Cool. So you're gonna get all the delayed weirdness like I did last time.
Yeah, but that's okay because I'm not listening to you on the side. I'm just listening to you here, and I'm imagining that I'm streaming movies back in 2007.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Off of like a 123 Movies website or something, or like, Video Weed.
That's exactly how it works.
That's a deep cut.
That's how the world works.
That's a deep cut. That's how it is. I'm ready. Are you ready to share?
Yeah. I got all these. Let me see you first. All right.
Okay.
So how do I? I'm gonna try to. The thing I want to do. Yeah, this will work. I'm gonna full screen you. You don't need to see me, right?
Look how live the chat is.
I know, it's crazy. Thank you so much for rating me, and thank you everyone that's following me. And everyone's trying to say those words that I warned about. I knew warning was a bad decision. I'm not gonna allow them. I can like manually allow them. You don't have to. But I'm not going to. No.
You don't have to. I think I think what the chat is doing is just basically just testing out the system, the automod system. That's
exactly. Oh, look, there's Rav. Beautiful. It worked perfectly.
Did it? Wow, there I am.
There you are.
Holy shit.
Too bad you don't have a green screen behind you. Goodness. No, you look fine.
I could bring one. It wouldn't look good though, because I don't have good enough lighting.
No, you're fine.
So.
Thank you for the follows. A lot of follows. Most important.
Yes, Chad. Make sure to follow. Yo, Chad, let's start a fucking hype train. Let's get a hype train going. Let's.
That would be very nice.
Let's get that going.
Yeah, let's
get a hype train for Square.
I did have like a potential hype train the other day, which was cool. Like the thing came up on the screen. I was like, I know it's not gonna actually happen, but enough people subscribed to where like one thing happened. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it feels very.
Yeah, it's so like nice of people.
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
So I also.
Oh shit! Hype train.
Oh shit! Oh my goodness! Thank you for the follow.
Gave you 200 beans.
Oh,
Flaming Beanie gave you 100 beans. Pain Dodo subscribed. Damn.
Man.
Little Discharge gave you.
Yeah, Little Discharge been in here. Oh, Hypnotic Wombat, thank you for subscription.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Chad, we have to do this. Do not embarrass me, Chad. We gotta do this.
Or do it to embarrass him. Either way.
By the way, I love your background.
Oh, thank you. I customed it. Yo, thank you for all the gifted subs, Buddy Beats.
Oh shit, damn. 5 subs. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, another 200 beans from
Thank you, Zara. My goodbye to you. Oh, have a great day. Thanks for coming through.
You got another sub from Ismio.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not struggling.
Thank you for the follow, Kevin Ben. I'm not used to like having to follow this. My eyes like can't keep up with
OBS,
Yeah, I've got it up.
OBS doesn't have a mini feed. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the feed up. It's just like going faster than my brain can process it right now. Yo, DJ Skull Kid, thank you.
All my shirts got girlfriends. All my friends got girlfriends. Yeah, that's true. I did that with Square. I said when he came out with this song, that song was stuck in my head so much. I sent you that one thing where it was just like nonsensical. It was something like that. All my shirts have got shirts.
Yeah,
all my
I think I remember that. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you,
shit,
Zach from Oklahoma.
Limpy Dino Reeve, or Dino Reeve rather.
Dino Reeve, okay. Big
Damn,
boy.
Look at that.
Hey Foxy, thanks for all the gifted subs. Foxy's day one truther.
Foxy truther. Foxy bot. We would gather 5 of our friends and storm the Capitol for you.
Yeah,
that's how much it means to us. Look, you completed level 4, man.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna pretend like, yo, what a weird coincidence that you rated me and then a whole other group of people started doing it.
This is just a coincidence. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Brass guy, how do you?
Damn, Zerifax, I want to see this through. Yes, good. Stick around. Thank you for another 300 things. Look at this, yo. Level 5.
Oh my goodness.
If you completed, that's it. You're done.
Yo, and I don't even know how to show excitement, so this is fun.
You are doing it. You're doing a really good job.
That's it.
Yeah, like that. Manic. Big boy sub.
Hey.
Absolutely. Damn, look at all this love.
Hey,
y'all.
thanks for using your Prime Gaming. I know you only get one now, right? Or like back in the day. Creeps Hot, thanks for the follow. Yo, this is insane.
Look at this. This is love. This is love.
This is love.
People wanna see you happy.
Oh, thanks for the subscription, sweetheart. That's the
Sweet rolls.
The other thing about Twitch that's terrifying to me is like my entire life I've like avoided saying people's name because I'm scared of not pronouncing them correctly, and then like Twitch is like, that's it. Hey, Babab.
Oh shit, you completed it.
Oh my goodness.
Babab gave you 4 subs. You completed it. That's it.
We did it.
You've maxed out, dude. Now you have to like speech.
Okay.
Speech.
Look. This is the best day of my life. Better than the day my daughter was born.
I thought she was still secret.
Oh no! Yeah, she's an embarrassment.
Better than that.
Better than that day. Better than the day Rab was born. When I was like 1.5 or 2 years old, I felt a disturbance in the force. That day. No, but for real, thank you so much. All the support that's come from like just since Phenomenal release, like everything, the videos, the vinyl, it's been so surreal. And like I have a tendency to minimize things on my end, and it is so amazing to get like the feedback that I've gotten. And like honestly, if we're doing speeches, like this 0% of this would be possible without Rav.
That's
and
not
like
true.
Rav's like
0 I think it is not true. By the way, FoxyBot just gifted you 3 more subs.
Oh my goodness,
What's
Foxy.
Your hype free level 5 is at a 200.
Oh my god, Foxy. Thank you so much.
Look at
holy
that.
shit.
And no, it's I mean, I'm just grateful that I've been allowed to be a part of the journey. So I really appreciate it. I don't think you give yourself enough credit.
Yo, I'm gonna say right now, I put so much work into this. I did a lot of work, but a lot of people do a lot of work. So having like support from Rav and even everyone else from XO and everyone that supports XO is like what makes it like possible though at the end of the day. And and like
sure.
None of this shit would be here without that. And like Rav jumping on a song, like the art production for this shit too, like it would not exist without Rav.
I don't know about all that, but I appreciate.
And also, the messed up premiere of the stream would not exist without Rav. That was Rav's fault.
Yeah,
I didn't do that.
That's
it wasn't
my
me.
fault. Yeah, that was my fault. I
Hey.
apologize.
You know what the best part of my day is?
Hey, little
Oh,
thanks for another sub.
I was in a call the other day. Do you see like these little rings, the white
Yeah.
rings in my
You know what the best
right?
part of my day
The
is?
other day I was like in a business meeting, or like business meeting. It's a meeting with the agent and my manager, and they just spoke the entire time, and I was silent in the call, and I had and I aligned that to be my eyes perfectly, and just sat like that the entire time.
Did they
No one
even
said
notice?
anything.
Hey!
I'm sure they did, but they didn't say anything.
I got a level 5 hype training emote, and I shared it. I don't know what that means, but hey!
Hey. That means now, like, you gotta pay more taxes.
Oh hell yeah! I'm all about paying more taxes because that's actually no. Wait. Okay. Speaking of capitalism, I heard you talking
Your favorite
shit.
subject matter.
We need to talk about
how
your.
did you hear me talk?
We need to talk about your obsession with lowercase letters because
Okay, yeah,
just because
yeah,
I
I do
told
have-
you. Just because I told you that you needed to use some capital letters doesn't mean that I'm about capitalism.
I do have a session with lowercase letters. Not an obsession. I just it looks just it's easier on the eyes for me. That's all it is. Subcapitalism. Yeah, so look.
I like for everyone to think I'm always yelling, "Hey, big boy 375, thanks for the cheers." I don't know what the etiquette is, but I'm gonna try to shout out everybody I can, even if I'm interrupting Rav. Hey, thanks for the following.
That sounds reasonable.
Adopted son. Oh, it's my
Yep.
adopted son.
There you go. Hey, chat. Make sure you keep on following Square.
Yeah.
Just keep on following him, spreading the word, following him, subscribing, giving him your beans.
When I'm at the grocery store, I
Show
expect
it-
you to be there.
You know what the
Corgi
best part
says,
of my
"Show
day
us your
is?
tattoos," but I don't. It goes against Twitch's terms of service to show nipples and anus though. So
You know what the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
part of my
yeah,
day
for
is?
sure. I honestly don't have
So-
any tattoos.
besides those,
Which is funny because my girlfriend has a lot of
You know what the best
tattoos,
part of my day is?
same.
so we're quite contrasty.
Yeah.
Also, I'm
same.
very
We're
tall
not-
and she's very short. That's like
Oh really?
a lot of contrast.
Yeah, for me, my girl is taller. She's got a lot of tattoos. I've got none
Yeah,
because it goes against my religious views.
me too. My religion hates art. That's it. It's not needles.
Same, yeah, same. That's why I formed EXO.
Yeah, exactly.
To round all the artists up.
That's why all my visuals used to suck so
You know what
bad.
the best part of my day is?
So, all right.
Hey,
Oh yeah, and well, Square. The
You know what
fact
the best
that
part of my day is?
your lady is shorter than you is not a huge surprise. You are like what, 6'4"?
Yeah, but she's like 5'1",
Oh,
like
that's-
or like
yeah.
5'2".
You know what the best
Yeah.
part of my day
Yeah,
It's
is?
great.
okay.
I don't even notice it, to be honest. Rip Untitled, thank you for the subscription. Yeah, I think it's with her.
When you said, I don't even notice it, to be honest. I just imagine like it cuts to like a compilation of every time you accidentally need her in the face.
Yeah.
Just,
Just like I don't know. I mean, I literally don't notice her. Nah,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think like part of it is like she has such a confident personality and like is such a like a strong person that for some reason that plays a part in it. I feel like her non-physical form is large. You know, it's like so you don't notice it
Yeah.
as much when you get to know her.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. We're going to talk about your political
I'm gonna
views
talk
at a
about
later
it.
point. You know,
Mhm.
but I think what we're here for, what I wanted to talk to you about, is your new project. Phenomenal came out almost a month ago at this point. I mean, your vinyl campaign's got what, 1 week left
6 days,
to
yeah.
go?
So it's like
6 days.
it came out on. We released it at like midnight on Friday, I think. So I think that it should be done on at midnight
Oh,
on this Friday.
show me. Show us the vinyl.
Oh, for sure. Let me pull it up. Pull up.
You pulled that up. I'm gonna pull up an actual vinyl that I'm on to me vinyls. That
Oh
people are now
yeah,
beginning
those
to
things are
see.
so dope looking.
Yeah, and it's like the same company. Bandcamp is pressing yours as well.
You know what the
So
best part of my day is?
For sure. I'm gonna come up with that vinyl one second. Yo, and we surpassed 200%
You know what the
today.
best part of my day is?
oh, that's awesome. 200%.
Yeah, which is awesome
Hell
in my
yeah.
opinion.
You were worried you wouldn't hit 100.
I know. I was worried we wouldn't be able to
You know
get
what
it.
the best part of my day
Yo,
is?
that's so cool.
Look how
Do you want me to here? 1 second. Look at that.
Yeah, look at this.
You don't need to see me. You
Look
just
at
see the
that.
vinyl.
My day is.
And the bag.
Oh man, that's so
then-
clean. Here, let me
Oh,
mute
I don't know where
Firefox.
the vinyl's actually.
You know
the
what
the
best
vinyl's
part of
not
my
here.
day is?
Oh no,
Yeah,
you're like it's
no,
so
it's in
light.
the record player. This one's inside the record player.
Yo, Rav's just doing a scam.
You know what the best part of my day is?
This is
Hey
an
yo,
elaborate
614,
scam.
thanks for the subscription.
The insert's upside down because I placed it incorrectly, but look, it's an insert, y'all.
Oh man, that's so crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That turned out about as well as like we could have hoped, because this is like a new thing, so you never know like how it's actually gonna turn out.
Oh yeah. I was a little worried about it, but it turned out so fucking pretty. So
Yeah, but honestly,
I can't wait to get my phenomenal vinyl.
yeah, that'll be dope. Can't wait to get that one. Also, like Bandcamp's a very trustworthy company in general. You know.
Yeah, they've always shown support to artists.
Yeah,
and-
for the
and
most
they-
part.
like,
I've never, they have some
Not
shortcomings on their sites and stuff, but like as far as like their intent, I don't think they've ever done anything like a misstep that I can think of. So here's the vinyl.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna look like.
You know what the best part of my day
There it
is?
is.
6
Look
days
at
remaining. Yo,
Look at
this artwork that Snissel did
You know what the
for me
best
like
part of my
changed
day
the
Yeah,
whole
look-
vinyl game.
look
me.
at that. When the vinyl will spin, the boat will be going around, swimming in circles.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing I wanted with the vinyl, is that the boat would be going with the vinyl while it was spinning.
So fire. That's so fucking cool. And I love the cover and everything. It's just such a dope look.
Yeah, I love. It's like a part of a bigger piece, and it's so cool because he did it so high definition that like, you're able to like zoom into it, and it's like multiple pieces of work. Like it just, I don't know. I think that's super dope.
Yeah.
Honestly, the vinyl thing is kind of like I feel like when you get into making music, you like actually here. I just saw this the other day. It might take me a second to get, but when I first started doing shows and I released Alphabet Soup, I made some CDs. This was like back in 2013, where I just bought rewritable CDs. Oh man, it might be too bright. And like just wrote Alphabet Soup on them. They're too reflective, damn.
Yeah.
And like I just found them the other day. They just say Square Alphabet Soup. And it has no one importance paying attention on here. Pay attention, which was his project, and at the time he went by which is like
I remember.
Yeah, damn, I didn't even know these still existed until the other day. There's 3 of them in here. That's crazy. But yeah, so like when you
That's so cool.
when you start making CDs and then you start doing other stuff, like
Yeah.
I feel like vinyl is like one of those like milestones that like one day I'm gonna get to do that, and then
Yeah.
this is it, man. I'm finally able to do it, and it's
Yeah, 100%.
crazy.
When I first started, I definitely didn't even imagine I'd get to a point where I'd be selling vinyl. There is something about it I also did the whole CDR stuff. You know, copying rewritable CDs and
Yeah.
kind of like draw graffiti on top of it, like Rav, my life is hard or whatever the fuck, right? And trying to pass it around
Friends have got girlfriends.
hallways in your school, and then getting to a point where it's like, well, I first started with cassette tapes because I was recording on top of cassette tapes, but it was pretty much the
Friends
same.
have got girlfriends.
It would be like really terrible quality of me rapping, freestyling over like my homie beatboxing, and then when it be done,
Friends
it
have
would
got
cut to
girlfriends.
like whatever was originally on that cassette tape, you know? It was gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, I don't know, Spice Girls or whatever it was, you know? Immediately afterwards, and then go from that
Friends have
to
got girlfriends.
finals is nuts. And I'm so excited to like, I'm excited for your vinyl because I think, I don't know, there is something special about that. Like the first time you do a vinyl, there's something that's so different, and you're never gonna feel that. You're never gonna experience it the same way. It'll always be dope,
Yeah.
but you'll never do it for the first time again.
And-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that every format has its like reasons for existing. Like for me,
Yeah.
the vinyls, I like the sound of record players. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. The idea of just like putting it on in the background with like people, like having that's really cool too. But to me, vinyls like are like the most like collectible. Like I think that like the art on them, the size of them, how they feel is all super cool. Like,
Yeah.
but like CDs are dope because if you still have a CD player in your car, you can put that in your
Yeah.
car and like ride around with it. And like tapes are cool in a similar artistic way, but they just fit in more spaces. I don't know. I just think it's
Yeah.
cool, like all these different
I agree,
formats that
the
are still
different
around.
media, the formats, yeah.
Because when
I dropped the link in the chat for where you can cop the vinyl in case
dope.
y'all were wondering. If you don't see the link, just go on exosociety.net and you should be able to select the vinyl campaign from there, and it'll take you to this page.
Mojo Rice says, "Dang Square, you got a lot of viewers. I wonder why." I don't know. There's no connection or reason. Today's just a popular day, I guess.
Yeah,
Doesn't make any
It's,
sense.
Well, you know what? It doesn't make any sense that you don't regularly have more viewers. But then again, you're still relatively new to like consistent streaming. Or do you do consistent streaming?
No, not really. To be honest, I don't have like time for consistent streaming
Yeah, Joe.
right now.
Yeah.
But I tried to do it on like similar days.
Yeah.
Have a great one, Joe one. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. My streams are also like, if you like background streams, my streams are really good for that. Because like I just like work on beats, and from like the
Yeah.
people that come out, they seem to enjoy that aspect of it. You can just like have it in the
Yeah.
background and
If you guys like foreground streams, you know,
hit Rav up.
hey, that's my bad.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll get it all in your way. You won't be able to do your homework.
exactly.
Or go to sleep. That's actually the case. I do this thing sometimes. I do this like ASMR thing that wakes my audience up. Would you like to hear it?
Oh no. Yeah, let me take my headphones off real quick.
You don't
Yeah.
need to take it off. All right. This is, you guys ready for some? I like eating chopsticks with. I meant to say I like eating soup with chopsticks, but like only one chopstick instead of two of them, and just slurping the soup off this soggy chopstick.
Oh my
Stuff
goodness.
like that.
You just put everyone to sleep,
like
Rav.
Yeah,
That was too
I just-
relaxing.
I was just giving people the tingles, you know?
That was so
Um,
relaxing.
So yeah, that's why I would say my streams are usually pretty pretty chill.
Yeah.
But
for
some
sure.
people say that wakes them up.
That's
apparently,
weird.
But for me, I feel like it's pretty relaxing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I've
okay,
seen I
Square.
watch your screens. Your streams are fun.
I watch your screams.
I watch your screens.
Yeah, I do have a lot of breakdowns, and that's when Square comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yeah, he's screaming again. All right,
Okay.
so okay, I got questions for you. All right, so um, let's take it back a little bit. So when we first met, a year after we met, a year or two after we met, you dropped Alphabet Soup. It was one of the earliest projects that we released as EXO. Let me see if it is
It's not the first one.
No, it's the second. The
'Cause we
first
did the
one was
tape.
Space Time Capsule. Oh, true. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I'm talking about on the Bandcamp. You were there the first year. You were one of the first year
Mhm.
projects, and it was fucking awesome. And now it's been like what? God damn it, 8 years, man. How do you feel about Alphabet Soup looking back on it now, 8 years later?
You know, it's funny before, because we had talked about like kind of this a little bit before I was
Mhm.
releasing the Phenomenal, and I had talked about like how I felt like Alphabet Soup was like poorly mixed, and like
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, at the time I only had like headphones and nothing else, and like less knowledge.
And a different mic.
Yeah, and a different, like a really cheap mic.
I'm a friend,
And
got a girlfriend.
I, in my head, remembered it being like really poorly mixed, but I did so much work on that too. And I'm actually like right before release Phenomenal, went back and listened to it, and actually pretty happy with the sound and like
Yeah.
you know, it's so angsty. It's like a different time in my life, but it was definitely the thing that I put like the most effort into than anything I'd ever done before. I remember I had like, first of all, back then I was like super broke, working like a part-time job, very often depressed. Do that thing where like I would wake up at like noon and then be like, no, I'm gonna sleep for 2 more hours so I can eat less today. And then of course my dumbass would then like go get cigarettes and an energy drink instead of food. And then like just mix or write or like make music all day on a day off. And it was like I had the most free time compared to now. I was just a different mind state, but it was definitely like the most work I ever did on anything. I was really proud of it at the time. I remember one thing I remember about it is I didn't have any speakers. All I had was headphones, so I'd always bounce stuff out and like send them, like just spam you, Bill, Connor, and Roger. Like, hey, can you guys listen to this on your speakers or in your car or like
Yeah, I remember.
see how it sounds?
Yeah. That's funny. There's something about that that's also kind of nostalgic, no?
Oh, for sure. It's kind of hard. Like I have to remind myself that I was miserable back then because like when I look back on that time period, you tend to like, oh man, I had so much free time and there was like so much like promise and like like you know like less things were set in stone, and but at the time you're like struggling with your identity and you're struggling with like what am I going to do with my life? I can barely afford to do stuff. Am I going to be a fuck up forever? Like, you know, just like like I remember the second verse in a way. It's funny cuz like Gone Away is like one of the last songs on that project, the second to last song. And over time I've like kind of not been a fan of it. But the one thing is that there's this verse, the second verse on it is like probably the most honest verse I have ever written, because like I remember just my life just like falling apart one day and just going home and writing this verse about it and just yelling it into the mic and then being like, that's it, that's the song. And I don't think I've ever really done that since then.
But that sounds cathartic.
Yeah, it felt really good. And so like I still like that, even though it's a little bit like a little bit dramatic and angsty, but it was dope. It was fun to do.
It was dope. And up until then, you hadn't released a project. Were there attempts earlier on in your life to sit down and work on a project, whether it be solo effort or a group effort, or did you maybe have like a mixtape or two when you were younger? Anything like that at all?
So, not. I mean, so when I was probably like 18, the guy I just graduated high school. Had this other friend, like the only other dude that I knew that was like interested in rapping. We started like I bought like this. My parents got me this like $100 mic, and I got an interface, or I borrowed an interface from a friend. Was using like Audacity and FL, and we would go on SoundClick back when SoundClick was really big. If y'all don't know about SoundClick, I'm assuming most people do. It was like
Now, most people probably don't. SoundClick was like
yeah. It was,
a niche thing.
it was like the type beats of that time period. It was like the site where you would like
It's like a market for beats. You know,
Oh,
producers
friends
would
got
have their own
girlfriends.
pages, kind of like I was gonna say MySpace, and make it sound even less relatable. But SoundClick was kind of like think SoundCloud, but instead of like putting out music to get people to hear it, it would be beats that you'd be selling. You'd be either selling leases or what was it, the exclusives,
Yeah,
or
and-
various variants of the two.
and most
And yeah,
producers had like beats that you could download for free, and they
Yeah.
had like their tags on them.
tag.
You
Yeah,
know?
it'd be like, yo, Stevie, do the thing on them. Like,
Yeah, or
30
Johnny
seconds, you know, and then JohnnyJuliano.com. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then, but and there would be type beats before people started doing it really readily on YouTube. I think it would be like, okay, you're looking for beats. You're looking for like, okay, it's 2008. You know, a lot of people are still on that Carter 3 Lil Wayne type beat.
Yeah.
Shit, right? So people would be like, Lil Wayne type beat, and this type beat, and that type beat, and a lot of really dope producers came out from that era. I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny Juliano is one success story, but
There's a
Yeah.
lot of them. Yeah, and the thing is, like, so what you would do, I mean, if you were like lazier like me, or like most people, I think, but if you had a better ear, you could go and find more obscure, like really dope shit. But what I would do is I would go to they had like the top 100, and the top 100 hip hop was like, that's where all like you wanted to be if you were producing, because that's where you would like sell the most beats. And you'd go down the top 100, and it'd be like a face of like, yeah, Lil Wayne's face, and it'd be like a beat that's supposed to sound like Lil Wayne, and then like Drake's face, a beat that's supposed to sound like Drake. And so I would go through, and there's this one guy, like Cinema Beats, on there. And
oh my god, I remember Cinema Beats.
yeah, and for some reason I like loved like 50% of his beats I thought were like the dopest thing ever.
Cinema.
Yeah. So
Always sounded like a Jamaican dude saying cinnamon.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we would download some beats off of there with tags on them, and like try to rap. Yo, I remember the first song that him and I did. We the sample was like pain, and like and like I was like, that's all I ever knew. You know, like that was like that's all I remember from the hook. So it's like this like 18-year-old kid that's like not like yeah, I was like sad, but like just like the corniest shit. But we never did a project. We just did some songs, and like,
Yeah.
you know, talked to this dude from a radio that like showed us how to use FL better and stuff like that. But then like once I moved to Austin, started working on, back then YouTube rappers were always like seen as corny. Nowadays they're like actually successful, a lot of them. Most people still see them as corny, but they're more accepted. Like back then it was like real corny. Like back then, like you didn't even make a career out of it. The way that they made careers out of it back then was like getting sponsors and doing contests. So like that's what I was doing.
Oh, hold on, Corgi's leaving, and I just wanted to say before you leave, you said earlier you feel like you'll be a fuck up for your whole life.
Oh
I'm gonna
no.
say this: being a fuck up is a state of mind, and that sounds corny on some guru type shit. But no, it's like, you could, everyone's a fuck up in someone's eyes, you know. So you're never gonna meet everyone else's standards. So you kind of got to develop your own and try to strive towards meeting those standards. And
Yeah, there's
Even
not.
if you don't always match up with them, as long as you know you're moving in the direction that you want to, you're not a fuck up.
Yeah, and the way like nothing's really. I mean, things have changed about me since I thought I was a fuck up, but nothing has changed so much that would make that self not still think I was a fuck up. It's all about like how I've learned to view myself and my goals and the things that I want to achieve. There's like this like yeah, there's not an objective way to not be a fuck up. Like there just
Yeah.
isn't. And so I didn't mean to imply that, and I don't think that you should feel that way. Especially because
Yeah.
you're always coming through, you're always super friendly. You're always like that's already a one up on me. I wasn't super friendly. Like I don't know, like
Corgi was super friendly. Corgi didn't call me out for I was calling them Corgi Q for months.
yeah.
Instead
messed
of
up.
Corgi Q.
So you're a fuck
Yeah.
up.
So I'm a you see, I'm a fuck up in someone's eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you take it easy, Corgi. Sorry for
No,
throwing
no.
you off.
That's a good
Yeah.
just train of thought.
I just saw it earlier and I wanted to address it later. I didn't expect Corgi to leave now. So
And that's a great
But-
that's a great thing to bring up too, because it's another thing of like when I'm talking about myself, like my negative self-talk, sometimes you forget that your negative self-talk can have a negative influence on the people around you, because like
Yeah.
you'll say something like negative about yourself that reflects other people around you, and you don't even mean the thing objectively. You're just like talking negatively about yourself.
it's like when if a girl confides within their friend or partner and they say I'm so fat, right? It doesn't seem disrespectful. It's just like, and you'll disagree with it and you'll be like, look, it's not the case or whatever, but they're saying that because that's how they feel, right?
Mhm.
But if they say that in the presence of other people, especially if they're larger than them, then that can read as a like an attack, and when it's never intended to be. So when when somebody when you or I say like, oh, we felt like fuck ups, or at this point in time in our lives we felt like fuck ups, maybe in someone else's mind,
I'm friends
like,
got
well,
girlfriends.
you're already doing better than me, you're doing a lot more than me. And that's why I was saying it's all about it's more of a state of mind rather than like a fact, a concrete
Exactly.
fact.
And it's like
So, yeah.
and we can, this will be the last thing I say on this general topic, I guess, but one of the best like points of view I think I saw, and I forgot where I saw it, about stuff like that, is like, because it happened a lot when like Trump was president, where like people really like body shamed Trump and like were like super negative about the way that he looked, because like when people dislike somebody, they're just attacking them in every possible way. But I remember
Remember when homophobia was readily accepted and there were so many things like Hitler was actually gay and
Yeah.
vegetarian.
yeah
Like as if those were additional slights against
yeah.
him,
But so I remember somebody saying like, hey, like I understand the perspective of like you disliking this person and like wanting to say negative things. Like they like even someone like Trump, like I very much dislike him as a person. But like you never know, like if somebody looks a certain way and you make fun of them for looking that way because they're a bad person, you don't know how many people view themselves as looking that way that are like good people, that all of a sudden they're hearing you make fun of them for like the way that they look, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I look like that, like people must feel that way. But you don't actually like care that Trump looks that way, you just like dislike Trump, right? And you're just like saying like some negative, I feel like that's negative
Low-hanging
self-talk is
fruit.
similar. Yeah,
But
yeah. So that's I try to view it that way too.
hold on, what's up? Okay.
Hey Lintius, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no, it is weird that people do like to do that. I hate it when you know like when I was younger, I'd be like ranting, opening up to someone, not ranting, I'd be like venting, right? Like, this person hurt me, I can't believe it, I thought they were my friend. They'd be like, yeah. You know what? I also just hated, I've always hated the way they kind of like dress, like, I mean, just like this is just a side note. It's just because like you're mentioning it, and it's just like, what does that have to do with, people kind of find reasons to.
For sure.
I feel like a lot of dislikable people, and malicious people can partake in non-malicious activities and behaviors. It's not. I feel like we just look for a way to derive an archetype of a person from looking at people and just be like, oh, this person, I really dislike them. They're deplorable. So therefore, everything about them must be deplorable. Let me pick them apart in a way where I can create an archetype of what a purely deplorable person is, and it's just not a very nuanced stance whatsoever. So
yeah, and I mean, even to take it back to art, like that's kind of like what like I think a lot of great artists do is they take these things that like these ideas that people have, these like archetypes that people have like created, and like they'll take like something like, for example, like I mean, I guess MF Doom is like a good example of this. It's kind of a cliched example of this, where like someone like MF Doom will take things like, having like lower quality mixes and like weird almost off rhythm beats or off rhythm rhymes, and like the average person, especially back then when you're listening to rap, those things are like natural like indicators of like bad music, but then they're able to take it in a way that like is creative and new and different and redefine the way that people perceive those archetypes. And I think that that's like what a lot of like great musicians have the ability to do that. And a lot of like artists in general do that. They take these archetypes that we create in our head and these assumptions that we make about the way things should be, and they make them into new things, which is random.
Did you have, well, I was gonna ask you, who did you grow up listening to? I remember last time we spoke, you said Ludacris was one of the earliest hip hop artists that you'd heard or listened to actively.
Yeah, he was like, it wasn't that he was the first one that I heard. It was the first time that I heard a song that like the way that he said the words, it wasn't even the words. It's like the way that he rapped Fantasy was like, I don't know. It's like something that I really wanted to. It wasn't even that I wanted to do it, but I wanted to learn how he did it, and I wanted to learn how to do it. And so that kind of like got me in a mind state of listening to hip hop in that with that mentality. Like, how do you do it? Like, how can you do this thing? And then actually we talked about it, I think, at the time. But then when you get like stuff like LimeWire and Napster, for us it was mostly LimeWire, you get access to all like the mixtapes, like the mixtape market stuff. And that's when you get like I had access to like Mos Def and Talib Kweli and like early Kanye, and Immortal Technique was like everywhere at the time. Common, and then on top of that you had the Chappelle Show, which a lot of people don't talk about. This aspect of the Chappelle Show is that like he had a lot of like really good musicians on that show that were,
I mean, he did that that thing in New York and Brooklyn. What was it called?
Oh yeah, and he made a movie out of it, right? It's like I forget.
Yeah, that's right. It was a block party.
Yeah.
Show, and he brought out Kanye was there, fresh off like like Jesus Walks. Kanye West, so College Dropout. Kanye West was there. Common was there. Erykah Badu was there. Tribe, I believe, were there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had any other members of Native Tongues up there, but yeah, definitely. Mos Def.
I think Black Thought too.
Black Thought. Yeah, like a very specific pocket. I would say Native Tongue family tree, like Native Tongues and people that they kind of inspired the following generation of artists. Yeah, like it was really cool that Dave Chappelle made hip hop a really big part of his whole thing, you know.
Yeah, and like a
And then the
different wave of
movie
it.
ties it together very well. Yeah, for sure.
And so that stuff that was like a little later on in like high school, but like before that, those people were already like all over LimeWire and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, I wasn't paying for music back then because I didn't have money to pay for music, but
Yeah.
we listened to all that stuff. And I thought that was like the peak of hip hop at the time. And like before that, of course, like I'm not gonna like skip over, even though it's pretty stereotypical. Like when Eminem was big, like we all listened to Eminem, Dr. Dre,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, like all that generation of West Coast stuff was like super super
Yeah,
popular.
all of the Dre stuff, basically.
Yeah, Chronic.
Everything
We
that
always
Dre
thought
touched.
that was like the coolest stuff ever.
Yeah, Chronic 2001,
Um,
released 1999.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Actually, I think the story behind that is that they wanted to call it the Chronic 2000, but they couldn't get like the copyright on that, and so they went with. I think that's the case, and so they had to go with Chronic 2001.
That's funny. Yeah, I saw somebody bring up AC Alone in the chat. Yeah, AC Alone, when he did that project, because RJD2 also got super big. When he did that project with RJD2, a lot of the Freestyle Fellowship people also. But mostly I listened to AC Alone.
I was gonna say, so you listen to Freestyle Fellowship, right? Because I feel like a lot of, especially earlier Square stuff, kind of has a bit of like a Freestyle Fellowship influence to it. I don't know whether that you did partake in their music actively or not growing up, but
So yeah,
it just seems like very similar kind of. It's a lot of the stuff you were doing, like it was. Like the thing that stood out to me about you is that you had lyrics and you knew how to flow and everything, but it's the intricacy of the technicality of the flow and how like sometimes the choppiness of it and the musicality. It's almost like you're using your vocals as like an instrument, like going between like a drum and a brass instrument. And I always kind of had that association in my mind with the Freestyle Fellowship.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was super conscious. Just gonna say, have a good day, Little Discharge. Thanks for coming out. But it was, I came across it in a pretty stereotypical way because it was like I was a little younger, but like I was listening to RJD2, and then like so I was hearing like all the people that rapped on his stuff,
Gotcha.
and then I listened to like Jurassic 5. Even though like I never got super into Jurassic 5, but like everybody told me they were amazing, and they were the first group that I remember
growing up.
Well, I remember they were the first group that people told me they used FL to make their beats. So I was like,
really?
yeah, this is like I don't know if they actually did, but that's just what I always heard, and I was like,
I
oh,
heard
that's
that about
awesome.
Ninth Wonder back in the day.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh shit, Ninth Wonder, yeah.
Yeah. So I was listening to a lot of that stuff, but just not like super actively. It was just like I would listen to songs rather than albums.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I kind of did the same thing. There's certain albums that I remember. By the way, just again, with FL side note, I remember Bill telling me that Liquid Swords was produced that on FL, but I can't find a citation for that. If that's true, if anyone's able to find a citation for that, that's insane.
Yeah.
I'll have-
Especially
how old
back
it is.
then.
Yeah, that would have been like Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
FL, old school,
Right.
old school.
Nowadays it'd be fine, but like doing anything, even on Ableton back then, if it was around, because early Ableton was also not really a DAW.
Do you listen to much music these days? And if so, what inspires you? Do you go back to a lot of like the older music in your life? Are there certain artists that you listen to and they inspire you or motivate you or excite you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's weird. I feel like I listen to there are. There was that period of time when I had first met you and Bill and everyone that we started talking about hip hop a lot, and that's when that's when Kendrick Lamar and like Danny Brown, those like that generation of A$AP Rocky, that generation of rapper was getting popular, and that was the first time I think I really sat down and started like listening to full albums, and like
Yeah.
hearing how they went together and thinking about that. So nowadays it's more of like a mixture of like if Kendrick Lamar puts out a project, or if even Open Mike Ego puts out a project, or if Danny Brown,
Yeah.
or like if certain artists that like Tierra Whack, like certain types of artists put out a project, I will listen to the entire project because I want to hear it, like how it evolves. And that stuff
Yeah.
is like, yeah, exactly. Like that stuff is very, very inspiring. Tyler the Creator. Some of these people though, like, are so advanced in the way that they're creating the music that it's almost not inspiring, because like I can't. That's not something I'm ever gonna be able to do.
So what do you? Well, it's not true. And what do you mean though? It's so advanced. Is a bit. Well, I mean, to me, okay. Maybe this is what you mean. Maybe you don't mean this, but for me, I like music that excites me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't necessarily inspire me to make music like it. I
Mhm.
usually gravitate towards the kind of music I don't necessarily make.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, there's certain things that like excite me. When Bonita Applebum came out, I wasn't even born yet, but like just going back to Bonita Applebum, nothing really ever sounded like that. And then with the low end theory afterwards, like the way that the jazz samples were taken and everything. Prior to that, the closest thing you had was maybe like Gangstar a little bit, but no, Gangstar wasn't even really out then. Okay, Big Daddy Kane, maybe the closest thing because it was smooth, but even then the production was so different. So it was like it was the birth of jazz rap, right? Which is like so prevalent now.
Yeah.
Whether it's lo-fi or even the fusion of jazz rap and trap, like what Kendrick does. And then also like I don't know who to accredit the birth of trap to, but let's just say Manny Fresh, for instance, right? When Manny Fresh was doing his sound in the 90s, nothing sounded like that prior to Manny. I mean, the closest thing you could think of is maybe like early Miami days, but even then it was kind of different. And there's an excitement about something like, oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can make this music, right? And it's so exciting. And to see how far trap and jazz rap have come is very inspiring. And I do think people are still pushing the envelope. Certain people like, Madlib and The Alchemist. If when I hear their beats, especially their new beats, I'm never gonna be like, oh man, I've heard it a million times before. It's I still get excited about it. But sometimes I do wish there was something new that could excite me and make me go like, how did they make that and how did they come up with it? And for me, JPEG Mafia is a great example of that. I think when I heard Peggy's Veteran album, I thought it was great. And I heard certain things in it that, like, people were saying noise rap, noise da da da, and I think that kind of clouded my judgment a little bit at the time. And when All My Heroes Are Cornballs came out, and it was so lush and ethereal, and yet so chaotic, like it was a chaotic lush that I never heard in music before being accomplished this way. His textures would make like One O Tricks Point Never and Shoo Shoo jealous, I find. And it was like, that's exciting to me.
I agree.
I'm not going to make music like Peggy. I don't want to make music like Peggy, but just hearing like, oh, there's still ways that we haven't really done this before is exciting because I don't know.
That's a good.
You want to feel like there's still so much unexplored. You want to feel like you've only scraped the surface of what's possible.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it, because like recently I was like doing an interview about Phenomenal, and I was asked like what my influences for it were, and you sound like an idiot if you're like, I didn't have any influences. Like, I do my own. I'm original.
You sound like an arrogant prick.
Yeah.
What? I inspire myself. My work ethic inspires me.
Yeah, but like, I think that's a good. The way you put it is perfect. Like, I listen to these artists that like I feel embarrassed saying are my inspirations because I sound nothing like them, and I'm not pretending to sound like them. And I never think that I'll be anywhere on the same level as them on a personal level, on a personal perspective. But like, one thing I'll say about like Tyler the Creator's newest project was that it is like a continuation but I don't think anyone's ever done that sound as cleanly. Like Pharrell definitely did it pop and clean and like amazing, but like Tyler has done it in like a new age way that is different enough to me where I do think it's like, wow, this is really different. Like this is like super dope.
Yeah. Because the lush synth work and stuff is something that, for the most part, it's weird to say it's been untapped within the realm of hip hop. Even though early hip hop was so synth heavy, there's so much techno based hip hop. You think Africa Bambaataa, you think early Miami, you think early Dr. Drake stuff. Super synth heavy, but it was never these kind of luscious, almost jazz-like synth work. I think it's very
it's like those same transitions. I don't know enough about music to know what it is, but it's the same kind of like chord progressions that have been used. I think the internet uses them a lot and stuff, but like I mean, I just liked it regardless of like what it might mean. I just thought it was like super clean and super pop, but like also hard at times and exciting.
I like exciting music. I agree, and I think you're right. I think people expect when they ask artists who inspires you, they expect like people to pull on artists that sound like them, and that's just not the case, at all. You can be inspired by a Billie Eilish as a hip hop artist and sound make nothing like Billie Eilish just because you're like, I don't know, that her music is really catchy. I love the way that it's produced and put together. It sounds amazing. I will never probably make music like that, nor do I intend to, but I can still be excited by it, By the way, shout outs to Morehole for the sub.
Oh, hey. I know Morehole. Morehole's a close and personal friend. But
shout outs to them.
But yeah, I agree, and if you look at a lot of interviews, I think it just depends on how you approach music. But I think a lot of other creators are like that too. Like Madlib doesn't listen to other beat makers to make his beats. Like he listens to completely other genres of music.
But I'm sure when he came up, he was definitely listening to a lot of soul. You can tell he definitely listened to a lot of jazz and Marvin Gaye, and you can also tell he probably drew inspiration from his predecessors in the genre, like Pete Rock and Premier and Q-Tip. But yeah, you're right. It's to say that Cocaine Pinata like Harold's, it sounds anything like Pete Rock or Marvin Gaye would be ridiculous, but it doesn't need to sound like it. Plus it's also weird. I feel like as artists, when we get asked who are some artists you like, I think we've gotten into the mode of like thinking, who do we sound like? I think back in the day, MySpace had this thing that if you were an artist, one of the questions was like list of artists that you sound like, and it's so that people, I guess, you could be categorized and searched in particular ways. And I think maybe this sort of thing makes sense for press,
and for listeners.
For listeners, it makes sense, like categorizing. But as artists, finding like trying to understand what it is that you make from an audience's perspective of like, what is your style? Who do you sound like? It's not, first of all, it's not our responsibility, but also it puts us in like a really precarious, awkward position, because we'll invariably, I think, sound like people we don't necessarily, well, not invariably, but oftentimes sound like people we don't listen to at all. And I think that makes us feel like, what? Really? You think I sound like this person? I hate their shit. Or whatever, you can have it.
I mean, I think one thing that thanks for the follow, Neopediv. One thing that
Neopet Live.
Oh, my bad. Neopet Live. Screen small.
Square's just learning how to read recently.
I don't know how to read at all. But one thing that doing live shows a lot really taught me was that, like, when people come up to you after shows because especially when you're not a well-known person and you're doing shows where like you're not bringing the audience necessarily, or you're only bringing part of the audience,
Yeah.
people tend to come up to you after the show and like if they liked your shit, they want to compliment you, but like they're not necessarily like even hip-hop fans, or they don't know, they can only see you through their own lens. So
Yeah.
it can often be like their compliments seem super insulting most of the time,
Yeah.
because it's like, hey, you sound just like Eminem. Like, okay. But I think after a while you start seeing that it's like they're just trying to compliment you through like the scope of what they know.
Exactly.
And like that's all you gotta take it as, is like a compliment, unless they're like just super disrespectful. But like
Yeah. Wow, you sound just like my deaf granddad.
yeah.
Just like, cool, that's your only scope of knowledge of music.
Yeah.
No, for real. Yeah, and as artists, I feel like most artists, especially the more involved you are in the whole process of making music, like if you produce, you rap, and you have to mix your own stuff and put it out and tweet about it and stuff like that, you become so attached to it, and it becomes such an integral part of who you are. It feels like it is the most accurate and the best reflection of who you are as a person. So when people are like, oh, I thought it was okay, it's somehow incredibly hurtful, you know? But it is what it is. You kind of, as an artist, you have to detach yourself from that, because the way you're experiencing your music is very different to how the audience is experiencing music. And now it's just that we get to see everyone's opinions. Maybe in the 90s, people had also like these, oh yeah, man, whatever, Raekwon ain't as good as Ghostface Killer, right? People would say that and you'd never know. Nowadays, people say that and it's in a forum, it's in a YouTube comment section, it's
Sure.
someone's Twitter. So things are changing, but it's, you kind of like have to still contextualize it as like, oh, these are just people talking about your music. And even if it's in a negative light, or you know, they don't like it or whatever, they're still taking the time to you know, discuss that or share their feelings about it, and that's pretty cool, man. That's much better than not being.
Yo, for real, because I was actually thinking about that with the Fantano thing, because I was thinking about like, because Fantano didn't like that song at all of mine, but I was thinking about like, and that had me down for a little while. But then I remember, speaking of Alphabet Soup, I remember like part of the song These Words, like part of that second or third verse was about like how I just wish that my music could affect people enough to where they would have opinions about it, you know, like, because I think one thing when you're coming up making music, most people around you are like indifferent. Most people aren't like super mean, especially online. Like when I was doing those YouTube like contests, they were terrible. But like all the comments were like, oh, you did so well on this one. You did, oh, great job, blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, the only thing is like some people don't listen. You know, that's like, and then when you start making music that people are listening to, and like some people are really enjoying, other people tend to have the reaction of like, why are people enjoying this? Let me listen to this. Oh, I don't enjoy it. This isn't good. Yeah. Why are they liking this? Yeah. And so like it's only in the context of like some people really liking it, which is like what you can choose to focus on.
I think it's because, yeah, you're right. A lot of people sort of not base their personalities in sort of like whatever is the counter opinion, you know? There's also just like people who, all right, I knew people back in school that just really disliked some of their friends, but they wouldn't be too direct about it. Or sometimes they would outright really hate them. And they'd be like, oh, they like, you know, Sum 41. Sum 41 sucks. And they may have only heard one song, right?
Yeah.
But they just hate that because that person loves it and they don't like that person. So if somebody is going like, my favorite, oh my God, I'm going to get a vinyl from my favorite fucking artist, Square, and they're someone they know kind of dislikes them, they'll be like, "Fuck Square. Square's for losers. Square sucks," or whatever, you know. And that opinion won't come from a deep understanding of who you are as a person or an artist. You know, it has nothing to do with you, and I guess that's ultimately what it is. People's thoughts and opinions have nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
And that's why I take it personally. But God is it hard, and that's why I try to not read comments whenever I can avoid.
Yeah, it really is hard because especially when they hit your insecurities. Because like everyone has like specific insecurities, and every once in a while somebody will hit it like right on, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And you think
That's
that
exactly
too.
what I was thinking. Yeah. That's it. They've validated that security or doubt that I have. They've
For sure.
confirmed it. And everyone else who's told me my shit was good is just either has poor taste in music
Mhm.
or thinks I'm too fragile to be honest with.
Yeah,
So, or they didn't want to take the time to be honest or whatever. So,
exactly.
so these things I think happen
For sure.
to most people. I think it's a fairly universal experience, and that's great. That's why I like it when people talk about it or share that side of their experience as an artist, because I do find it to be fairly universal. And when I hear artists that I have a tremendous amount of respect for echo these same sentiments, it makes me feel like it grounds me a little bit, you know. It makes me think that, oh well, I know that people who are saying their music is whack, I don't take their opinion seriously. You know, if somebody tells me like Mos Def is trash, I'm not gonna be like, damn, is he?
Yeah.
Maybe they're right, you know. But why would I do that with myself? If they say I'm trash, why would I be like, maybe I am trash? So I just gotta be more consistent with the way that I treat myself and others
Yeah,
in that regard.
and maybe if the stuff that I make right now isn't for everybody, maybe the next stuff I make will be for more people or for different people. And like everything that like who I am right now or how people perceive me right now isn't who I will always be necessarily. It's crazy. Like the story of Danny Brown shopping, was it old? Around and like labels just being like, nah, this is a mixtape. Nobody's gonna really like this. Just put it out as a mixtape.
Yeah.
And then it's like a classic for people. Like just people just have different ideas, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, just do your own thing and experiment and have fun. And if you're small and you haven't really cultivated a following yet, it is a great place to be, honestly. It's not the best place to be forever necessarily. It's a great place to be, and you know, I oftentimes look back at a time where I could just experiment, play around with shit, and it would affect nothing or no one other than myself. And there's something about that. Just, you know, I felt like it's okay for me to fuck up because no one was gonna notice.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great place to be. Just experiment, just play, have fun with it, and yeah, just have fun with it. I know that sounds so corny because everybody says that. Old, you know, hippie ass people say like, "Yo, just enjoy the process," but it is enjoyable. The process is truly enjoyable if you allow it to be. And when it's all said and done, I look back the times when I made like music, let's say 2012 or 2014. I don't remember all the exact experiences and things that were going on through my mind, but I just hear the music and I'm happy it exists. You know, I'm glad that I committed to putting this out. I don't love everything about it. There's some things I would do differently, some things that make me slightly cringe, but I committed to it. And that was an accurate reflection of who I was at the time. It is what it is. You know, it's kind of like a photograph of a family photograph that gets taken when you're like 7.
Yeah.
And then you hate it for a long time. You hate it like when you're 14, you absolutely can't stand it. And then when you're in your like 20s or 30s, you look at it, you're like, man, that was such a good time. I'm glad this photograph exists. You know, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of my music looking back. Anyway, I apologize for digressing
No,
and taking this conversation.
yo, that's like, I mean, honestly, I think the most basic aspect of that is that realistically, at least for me in life, one of the most difficult things to do if you have like insecurity, self-doubt, or like a certain amount of self-awareness is to like truly commit to something.
Yeah.
And making music or making art is a form of being able to really commit to it. And there are a lot of other ways to commit to things in life as well, but like life isn't really worth living unless you find things that are meaningful to you and you commit to them. Because that's how you grow as a person. You need those snapshots to understand yourself and to grow.
And don't place all the weight of validation onto outside forces. So don't look for your fans, audience members, your friends to tell you that what you're doing is dope. That's not to say that you shouldn't accept those things and or derive pleasure or endorphins from that, but you know, don't put your eggs all in one basket.
Yeah.
When it comes to your emotions, you know, you have to derive some sort of joy from it, from yourself. Just be yourself by virtue of like creating something and fucking with it before anyone else has heard it, you know, because, you know, in the absence of an audience, or if your friends turn on you or anything like that, and that's where you've placed all your validation and sense of self on, you kind of lose such a big chunk of who you are as a person. But that I would say that's probably true with most things in general, you know. Don't allow one thing to burn down in your life and somehow take everything you are with along with it.
Rap's constantly waiting for us to turn on him. If your friends turn on you.
Waiting. Yeah, my friends are constantly turning on me.
Yeah.
You guys don't see these battles behind the scenes, but it gets pretty violent. But yeah, so you've made Alphabet Soup. You then worked on a bunch of. You've released some EPs in between Phenomenal and Alphabet Soup. You also worked with No Unimportant, previously known as on Alphabet Soup. You guys released a couple of projects together as And More and stuff like that. Now you've released Phenomenal. Where do you see I guess now where do you see yourself going forward necessarily, so much as like do you have an idea of what it is that you want to work on next just yet, or are you just kind of fucking around with songs here and there and still without a concrete idea of what you want to do just yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely have an idea of what I want to do, but I think right now I have too many ideas of what I want to do. And I tend to do this. I'm going to have to like filter them out. But I do want to do, like, I've been working on I have some songs with No One Important that we're going to start putting out soon. It's not like a project. We're just going to put out some songs because I always have fun doing stuff with him.
That one that was fire.
Thanks. But I also kind of like going forward. I'm also working on another project with him and another creator called Luther Van Dam, and we just kind of been meeting up and talking and stuff. That's gonna be a long time if anything comes of it. But what I kind of want to do is work on like a few short EPs with different producers. So I think that would be really fun. But that's what I'm saying. Like all this stuff is like, there's a lot of it. So I'll have to filter down what I actually end up committing to, because I also work full time. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But as long as you're creating, also I feel like as long as you're creating songs, you're already making progress. I think a lot of the times we look at like, okay, I'm working on a project, and and it's a lot more difficult, I think, to feel like you're making progress when you're working on a project, because it's so, even once you've made 3-4 songs, that's not that many, and are you sure all of them are going to end up on a project? But if you're just making songs with the intent to just like make music, then every song is like an accomplishment, you know, and then eventually, you know, you have enough that you could, where you could go and be like, oh, this is a project, or I can put them in this order and like record 2 or 3 more songs to fill this gap here, and I'll be done. It's a lot. I find I prefer doing that, just recording until I feel like I have enough for an album, then go into the process of like, I'm going to be doing an album.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm going to talk about, especially because I feel like our music is very, very personal, and just imagining me writing like planning a full album ahead of time is so weird. Like with I'm On To Me, if I go, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about my relationship with my ego. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about my relationship with my family, how my dreams have died. I'm going to talk, you're not sitting there and going through, because you write about those things when you go through them. You don't go through a full spectrum of emotions and experiences all at once. I think you go through chapters in your life. At least for me, that since the writing and recording process is so cathartic for me, I usually write and record it during the time that I'm going through those like feelings and thoughts, and imagining myself somehow planning that out ahead of time is weird. I think it makes more sense if you're a person who does like storytelling projects or
concept albums. Like if you just plan out stuff first. Yeah, for me it's more like I want to try to be inspired by different producers so that hopefully I can do some different stuff, you know.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Well, with Phenomenal, you produced everything except for Troubleshooting, right?
And the second half of the last song here.
Okay, yeah. So that's interesting, because Alphabet Soup, you've produced yourself as well, a number of songs, right? How many?
I think it was for sure the last one. It was 3. I think I did 3.
Okay, you did 3. So you were already producing back then, but now you've like really taken control of at least on this project. You definitely took on the whole, like most of the production side of things. Is there a reason for that, and do you feel more comfortable with your production skills comparatively to like Alphabet Soup era?
Yeah, I mean I think I do feel a little bit more comfortable. I think I feel more comfortable with my mixing skills more than anything, but I think for the most part it was kind of accidental, because that's kind of why I wanted to work on some project with different producers, because I found that I was in a situation where I would find instrumentals, or people would send me instrumentals, and I would like the instrumentals, and then I'd try to write to them, and nothing that I wrote felt like it was me or mine or like right. And then like I would have like a sample, and I would flip it and like make a beat and then write to that. And even though like I didn't like the beats necessarily as much at first because they were my own, the songs made more sense to me, and like they felt more comfortable. Like I don't know, they just felt more like what I was trying to do. And then over time it just ended up that way, that like most of them, because I couldn't find beats, couldn't do stuff, so I was just making beats and like writing to them, and it built up.
There's a little bit more control, right, when you're producing your own stuff, because you can just, it's so much easier to communicate with yourself, like, oh, let me replace this part, drop the drums out here, do this, do that, as opposed to when you work with someone else's beat. You can ask for those things, or you can try to emulate certain things with how you kind of edit on top of their beat and stuff, but there's still less control than whenever you're producing yourself. Not to say that it's a a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of an observation, I guess.
No, because a lot of people will also like send you stems and stuff. So then you have like that kind of.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
like,
See, I've never done that, so that's why I'm super lazy.
but even then, it's just like the stuff that I was writing was just like this doesn't feel right, and it's not like I don't know. And it kind of accidentally happened. I still don't feel super comfortable about my production skills. I think that's like the hardest thing, because that's where you have to have the most musical knowledge to be able to do like transitions and breakdowns and so my shit is like I try to keep it like very simplistic and sounding dope in that way, and hopefully it comes off that way.
It comes off super dope, man, for sure. I really love the sound on Phenomenal. It's the whole album sounds so crisp. Everything is composed so well. The
Thanks.
way that you've chopped the samples, the way that you've handled the vocals. That's something that was always true, in my opinion, with your music is how dynamic your vocals are. You know, it seems almost like you don't have the patience for a single flow, you know, for too long. It's like now you have this part, that part. It feels like your songs feel so dynamic because so many sections feel like bridges, where it's just I don't think of your music. There's so many rappers that I really fuck with, but I always think of it as like, okay, the 16 bar verse, 8 bar hook, 16 bar verse, 8 bar hook, 8 bar out. With you, I never think of your music in terms of bars, because it's, by the way, I hope you guys enjoyed my karate chops I was doing.
Perfect.
It's the thing about your music, it's always evaded that for me, where it's just like, oh shit, 5th bar, now he's singing, oh now he's doing this whole thing, oh shit, damn, that hook was dope. Wait, no, this is the hook, holy shit, wait. And it's so cool because I like the unpredictability of it, because it's it's unpredictable but not jarring, you know. It's unpredictable in a very kind of like, oh, I'm being taken on a journey. Every song feels very unique and different, and I think that's really awesome. And I think Phenomenal showcases that very, very well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it probably comes from insecurities, but I think also part of it is I like when I'm making a song, I like being uncomfortable with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like as you make more and more music, that kind of goes away a little bit. But I remember like Alphabet Soup, when I was making that, like a lot of those songs, when I originally wrote the flow to it, I was like, I don't know if this is like this is on beat, but like, is it? And it wasn't like they were like super complex. I was just like, for me, I was like learning, and like, so like those flows that make me feel like uncomfortable, I feel like are fun.
Yeah, for sure. Stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. But you know, I appreciate that you feel that way. I think it could also be looked at as a negative, as like jumping around too much and like not letting people vibe with stuff. But it's just what I do.
I feel like no. I wouldn't say it feels that way at all. Where it's just like, God damn it, I just got into this flow and you fucking, what is this whole part? No, it's never felt like that to me at all. It's always been, oh, this is interesting, this is exciting. It's kind of like, it's like watching an episode of a show that you're super stoked for. You love this show, and you're like, and every song is a new episode, but it doesn't follow a structure. Like, you know, it doesn't have like, okay, you know how certain TV shows like Scooby-Doo, Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo era, where it's like, all right, they're arriving in some new part of like the country. Uh-oh, some sort of crime was committed. They have to discover who it is. They catch them. Fred thinks it's this person. It turns out to be the person Velma thought it was. And,
yeah.
and that can be enjoyable, but it's like, even though you know necessarily the whole story that's going to happen, it's still, there's a level of predictability to it. With your shit, it's kind of like it's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's consistently, I don't know what's going to happen. It's exciting. It feels like I'm going to be taking on this new journey, but because it's Square, I know that the one thing that is a constant is the quality and the care that you put into the work. So I really appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
As a fan,
that's super nice thing to say.
Bad Bob said last time they walk and this time they talk.
That's the truth.
That's all we do whenever we're not walking. We love to walk.
Walking when we're talking.
Yo, shout outs to Mello for the Hillside music video.
Yeah, that was crazy.
If y'all haven't yet, what is you doing? Peep it. It's really super cute. It's amazing. Mello did all of that, and in such a brief span of time. And yeah, shouts to Mello. And fucking shout outs to Square for letting me hop on the song. I love that song.
And shout outs to Rav for being on the song and helping facilitate the video.
Well, you gave me so much money up front for it.
I gave him all the rights to it too. I don't make any money off the song.
Guys, make sure to go stream Hillside only. Yeah, no, it's an incredible album, and yeah, make sure y'all cop a vinyl. Phenomenal. You've only got 6 days left.
Yeah, that's crazy.
After this week, you won't be able to readily acquire it, because the way that it works is Bandcamp registers your orders and presses that amount.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the campaign works. So you only have 6 days left if you haven't secured your copy. And make sure to support Phenomenal on streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, etc., and add them to your playlist and stuff. Even if you only share with your playlist with your friends and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people need to hear Square, because I feel like a lot of people would fuck with Square's music. They just haven't been introduced to it yet, and we don't have any label backing us or anything like that. It's all very indie, informal, played by ear, and so we're incredibly reliant on how you choose to support us.
Yeah, we're pretty much like NPR.
Yeah, essentially. And so yeah, shouts out to everybody, because your vinyl campaign was a success within the first 2 hours that it went live.
Yeah.
And Square I remember Square saying, man, if the campaign works out at the end of the 30-day mark, that's it. I'd be so happy. I couldn't ask for more. And he knocked it out of the park within the first 2 hours. And now he's more than doubled that, sitting at 211%. So, shout outs to you, man. And I told you this would happen.
He did say it. Rav is a little known prophet. He says things and then they happen. No, that's so crazy. That's and it's weird. It's that's such a cool way to be able to be like, hey, that's successful. That happened. That's a thing that I said. I think that's a good way to, if you have it's a little bit of digression. If you have problems with negative thought and self-doubt, or turning everything negative, a good way to combat that is to set realistic goals. So then because of course, as soon as the 2 hour thing happened, my brain goes, so what? And then I'm like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. The self-sabotaging thing. But that's the thing, is when you set those goals, I can objectively be that is something that I never thought would happen, and I'm so grateful that it did. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It is interesting that we do that, right? We're just man, I hope that one day Obama says my name on live TV, and then Obama goes on TV and says, "Oh yeah, shouts out to Square,"
Yeah.
and you'd be like, oh, I wish he pronounced it a bit better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish he said it a bit.
He didn't link to my pages. He didn't care.
yeah. Like, oh, I'm so glad he shouted me out, but like not my handle or anything.
Yeah.
There's always a way to, just like there's always I feel like to find a silver lining. There's always a way to find some like a turd in a chocolate cake or something. I don't know. I can't come up with a metaphor for it, but there's always a way to see something that's good, absolutely good, and find a way to twist it and to make it less impressive than what it really is. And so you're right. It's good that you set yourself goals, and I think that's good advice in life in general. Don't just set big, like, shoot for the stars kind of goals. Those are great, but I feel like checkpoint goals are far more important because they give you a sense of progress. And once you get to them, you feel a sense of accomplishment rather than allowing them to sort of happen as you continue to aim towards the stars. And so, yeah, by setting these things as goals, when you meet them, you can at least admit that, hey, I did the thing I set out to do. That's awesome. And of course, you can still find ways to undermine that, but it's harder to undermine things when you literally have like a list and you get to put a strike through a thing you took time to put down on there, thinking like that is something I'd like to accomplish.
Exactly. And on top of that, just like realistic goals let you build in a realistic way and allow you to be more productive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I digressed a whole lot of times. I do apologize.
No, it's called a conversation, Rav.
Yeah, but I do feel like I'm very, actually, you're pretty good. You've always been a really good person to talk with as someone who has ADHD. You've never gone like, that's not what we were talking about, Rav. It resonated really hard. I wonder if you maybe have a bit of ADD or something. I don't know, but you've always entertained my digressions, and I appreciate that.
I mean, I have some symptoms, but I don't know. Those symptoms, I feel like it's one of those things that a lot of people have symptoms.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you've never got diagnosed?
mm-mm.
I see. Yeah, I'm diagnosed.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's great to see how far we've both come since we first got to know each other about a decade ago.
For sure.
And I'm excited for all of the future projects that we do and everything. And also, when I mentioned your discography, I failed to mention Skin.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to more collaborative projects going forward as well, because that shit is always exciting and it's very different. A collaborative project is always put together different.
Has different energy.
Solo. Completely different energy, completely different vibes. And I love Skin. Skin is one of my favorite projects I've ever made.
Yeah, the feeling of it was great. Just it's not, well, like I was about to say, like it was easy, but like you did all the mixing and shit. So I don't know about easy, but it was
He'll mix 2 joints.
Oh yeah. But it was definitely fun. It's definitely,
it was really
and it has a different feel because of that. And I think it's partially, like you've said this before, it's partially because we were together when we were recording a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. It was a lot easier to, I guess, be on the same page about things because we were all in the same place, and so like we could, just a quick little brief bursts of ideas and things like that you get to share in person.
Mhm.
When you type these things out, sometimes you'll type it halfway through and then delete it because you're like, wait, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And it may be stupid, but sometimes I feel like it's important to share those weird, stupid, whatever comes to your mind to get a sense of like what everyone's feeling. And doing that in person is a lot more easier because then the music making experience becomes more visceral.
Yeah, it's you know, and you just have different subject matter and different ideas and things go in different trains of thought. I very much apologize, but I gotta pee real bad. Can you entertain chat?
Yes.
I know you're bad at it. You're not used to doing this type of thing on your own.
I've never done this, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try my best.
All right, I'm gonna center you.
Oh.
Look at.
Oh.
Good rap. All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Is he gone? No, he's not gone yet, is he? Okay, he's gone. All right, chat. If you have Amazon Prime, did you know that if you hit on subscribe, you can use your Amazon Prime for this month to subscribe to Square for free? You can give them. You can subscribe for free. You can do that. Do that now. If you have Amazon Prime, subscribe to Square. Do it. Do it while he's gone. Let's try to get another hype train going, because we're gonna be wrapping up soon. I want him to come back to surprise hype train. Let's get it going. I'm gonna try to make it happen. Let's do it. He deserves it. He put so much work into it, and he doesn't give himself the credit. Let's just show him that he is valid and we appreciate him.
You know what the best part of my day
Let's
is?
see. There we go. So I subbed. We need more people to sub and keep giving bits and such to launch a hype train. Oh, you don't have a Prime subscription? It's okay if y'all don't have Prime subscriptions. Don't worry about it, you know? Oh, you want to go check for the cat? Oh, it's open. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. He'll be back. Thomas is outside being an absolute fool that he is.
You know what the
Oh
best part
shit,
of my day
Babop.
is?
What the fuck? Yo, thank you, Babop. Come on, guys. Just a couple more dubs and I think we can get that hype train going before he comes back.
You know what the best part of my day is?
Hey, what's up, dude? Welcome back.
Hey, I'm just gonna leave you
You know
on
what the
there
best part of my day is?
by yourself. Oh, well.
Yeah, that sounds cool. That's a cool thing to do.
1 second, there it is. So I was thinking, thanks for the cheers, thanks for the subscription. Oh, for the gifted Bat Bop 3-tier 1 subs. I don't know what these things mean, but thank you so.
3 subs.
Oh, 3-tier 1 subs. I just read it wrong. Thank you. Appreciate it. So something I was thinking about while I was in the bathroom is how's your thanks for the gifted subs.
The Negator, shout out to the Negator.
And the muskiest. Oh wait, it's the opposite. Anyway, I was thinking about while I was in there. How do you feel about I'm on to me now a few months later? Like in terms
Half a year later.
Oh really? It's that, man, time goes by so fast.
It was November. It's almost a half a year. It's been 5 months.
That's crazy. And I was thinking about it in both terms of like, how do you feel about it as a project? But I remember when you were about to put it out, you were kind of like discussing it in terms of being worried that it sounded so different than what you've done in the past. And like, I was kind of like of the opinion that the general like ethos of it was like a continuation. So people would understand and fuck with it. How do you feel about it both that way? Like, do you think it's like more connected now, or do you still feel the same way about it? And how do you feel about it as a project itself?
For sure, I do feel it's connected, and it's something you and my girl both said. And I agree. I do think it's a continuation of what I've done before. I was just really worried that people would be like, "This is like really different." This is way different. I was just worried people would be like, "I want lo-fi," and I'm so like, me, I don't just do like Beneath the Toxic Jungle type of music. I make a lot of different kinds of music, and I'm on to me was taking me into a very specific direction, and I was just worried people would like. No, I know that ultimately it doesn't matter how people feel, but I just was worried people would be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, I feel you.
What, I was really worried about that, and I was also just kind of, when I was sitting on the project for a while because I was at a while.
I'm friends have got
mixing
girlfriends.
it, mastering, and everything. You hear it so many times, you start to just like second guess.
For sure.
Stuff like, isn't it good? Because not that the magic begins to disappear for you, but it's just like you start to hear it so much nonstop every day because you're mixing it. It kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you listen to your favorite song over and over again, even if it's by somebody else. You listen to that song 1,000 times. By the 1,000th time, you're kind of like done with that song and you move on to the next thing. But when you're mixing, you can't move on to the next thing. You got to keep doing it until it's right.
Yeah, no, but now looking back at it, I'm glad people responded to it the way that they did, and overall, I'm really happy with it. It is the project I'm most proud of to date.
That's great.
And I feel like, yeah, it's a continuation of my journey, essentially, just like all the previous music was. All those songs were time capsules of who I was as a person then, and all the the thoughts I had back then were captured as best as I could capture them then. With Almond, to me, it's the same thing. It's just, sonically, it's a bit different, but it's,
Yeah, and I think the song structure in itself, too, is like, it's not that you've never done stuff like that before, but it's like, I think the song structure and style is like you were talking before in terms of like a predictable, unpredictable. I think it's like less predictable in a lot of ways. And I think maybe that's kind of what you were worried about too, subconsciously, maybe, is that like people wouldn't expect you to do the things that you did. I don't know. It's
that, and also it's kind of like I felt like, oh, people really gravitate a lot of the times to the catchy stuff, and I never make stuff wanting it to be catchy necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So for me, whatever I make that's new that hasn't been heard, I'm like, oh, people aren't gonna like it because there's nothing catchy on here. Because it's like I'm preoccupied with sharing some real dark shit as always, and dark for me and personal for me and something important to me. Sharing that, and then also having to consider like, oh, how catchy is that? How catchy is my pain to someone else is just always kind of a weird thing. But once it's dropped, all that doubt kind of went, because at that point I was like, whatever, I couldn't make any changes anymore. Once everything was uploaded to streaming services and everything, there was like, I felt a release, kind of like, all right, whatever, I'm commit now. I have to commit. And then when it came out and people reacted to it, it was like, okay, it's out. It's out there now. I can't take it back. It is what it is. This is where I am at. This is an ugly open wound, but it's honest and it's real, and
it's thought out.
What it is.
Like, that's the thing. Like, one thing that I don't know why, but I've kind of gone down the train of like thinking about, I think partially because the Hillside video had your lyrics written out, and so I'm like reading your lyrics and I'm like thinking about other songs that you've made. And I think one thing that really stands out, especially when I'm comparing to myself, is that your lyrics seem super, super thought out. Like the way that you write, it's like very deliberate.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Yeah, I don't usually write completely disjointed lines. You know what I'm saying? I have themes, I have things I kind of like to return to within the verses that I'm referencing, and um I do like to put a lot of time into it. I just worry that I'm not really good necessarily at always communicating what it is that I'm trying to say. And I find, like, to be honest, your music, your style of writing is incredibly deliberate too, because I find yours way more deliberate than mine, because yours serves as like all the shit that you say. When I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's Square. Whenever you and I have any conversations about life or certain, like, big things, and your opinions are reflected in your music the same way when you and I talk. So it's very accurate to who you are, and then it's worded very well and very technical. You got mad rhymes.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
you
you.
rhyme a lot, and so just a technical perspective of rhyming ability, it's incredible. But then also the musicality of it, um, and it's something that really inspired me earlier on, just before Beneath the Toxic Jungle. That's why on, like, certain songs like Adderall and everything, I started doing things where I would have, like, not a bridge, but like sections of songs that would be singy or kind of would be approached differently to the rest of the song, and it kind of it made some of those points, by changing the flow up, it makes that point more poignant. It draws more attention to it, and I thought that was an incredibly interesting instrument, or like an interesting tool creatively with writing music. So your shit is incredibly thought out.
Well, thank you. I guess I don't like, not to compare it, I guess, to each other. Then, um, it's funny you say that, because I feel like, like when you take something, you make it your own, then you do it, then like somebody else hears it, or I hear it, even if it's like necessarily inspired by me, I hear it, and then I get something different from it, and I like try to emulate that, because a lot of like the way that you mixed your verses, even on Hillside, like the way that you had your the vocals panned, like the panning on those vocals,
Yeah.
like that was something that you and Bill, I don't know if it was you or Bill that did it first, but I remember it being you that, like, it caught my ears. The way that you pan those vocals and like open them up and like fit stuff, it just like,
Yeah.
that was something that I always thought was like, that adds like an extra layer to the things that you're saying, and it adds like texture in a way that I was never able to like accomplish with the way that I was mixing stuff. I thought that was really dope. But I guess in a literary sense, I feel like, I guess in my head, like, if I were to like put my lyrics on paper, they would lose a lot of what makes them interesting to me.
I see what you're
But
saying.
your lyrics like hold that interestingness. I feel like you have a lot more like deliberate word choices, and maybe that's just from an outside perspective. It just feels like you could just write your shit on a page and it would still hold a lot of that same meaning.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me, especially coming from someone as talented as you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good. Well, all right then. Well, how about this? We can do a quick little Q&A, because technically we have been engaging with the chat every now and then. We could do a quick round of Q&A for those questions that you guys feel like we haven't addressed or we missed. So feel free to ask anything that comes to mind.
For sure.
And in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to try to go over as many as we can. Then I'm going to have to bounce and feed my family.
Oh yeah. Again, thanks for rating. Thanks for everybody coming out. It's crazy.
Yeah. I appreciate everyone sticking around. I know that Sundays aren't necessarily the easiest days for people to tune in on.
Yeah. It's the
Let's
only
see.
day I can do it.
Square, what's your favorite I'm On To Me track? And Rav, what's your favorite Phenomenal track? For me, it's Troubleshooting.
Oh yeah.
I just love the way that Square rides the beat, and the instrumentation is incredible. The way that you do, it's almost like spoken word, but I usually find spoken word corny. But yours, it doesn't feel like a preachy spoken word. I don't know. It's still musical. It's very jazzy spoken word. It's like it's beautiful. I love that song a lot. It's a really good mood. It makes me think of Cowboy Bebop.
Nice. Yeah, I mean the horns that Flug did and the production that Will did were crazy. Just like super calming stuff. You know, for me, I went back and forth between To My Future Self and Molasses.
Okay. Because you're on both of them.
Yes, exactly. Now, honestly, I think part of it is because I did help mix them, so I heard them a lot more and they like got into my head, but like I really like the production on those. And I think that those are like two really great examples of you using your voice in that way that I was talking about, where it's like really big and there's like a lot going on and like simple in the way that you're saying it, but because of all those textures and layers, just the mood of those songs are really great.
Appreciate that. Yeah, you killed it, especially on no, I'm not gonna say especially, because on Molasses, your whole shit is so fucking catchy, and that like feels like it's all in my head refrain is so like haunting. It sounds like a ghost, you know, is singing that part. And then on To My Future Self, not only did you kill the mix, but the way you transition from my part of the hook into like the intro to your verse and everything, the way that you've always taken, you're always good at like grabbing something that I've done and I'm unable to finish it, and you just kind of evolve it and make it like bigger and more interesting.
That's dope to hear. I remember also with Prosthetic Self Love, when I heard that beat, I was like, I didn't believe that like you had produced it for some reason.
Yeah,
because it was like so clean.
Yeah, but who made that beat though?
I
remember
love
being
that
offended.
beat.
Yeah, I remember being like, maybe it was me, huh? How about that?
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Who would win in a fight? 1 billion lions or one of each Pokemon?
One of each Pokemon, like.
So like 900 of them, 900 Pokemon versus a billion lions.
Oh, the Pokemon would win easy, like because it would just take like
a billion lions. They have their own fucking gravity at that point.
Yeah, but like
lions?
It would take like 4 legendary Pokemon to do some like time shifty thing, and like
you're right.
or like just like strike them with like a million bolts of lightning.
Fuck, you're absolutely right. I hadn't considered that.
And some of those
God damn it.
And some of those legendaries are like giant, aren't they?
Some of them are giant for sure. Like Lugia is giant, but yeah, you're right. There's like one that like can take you into the Shadow Realm, one that controls time, another one that controls this and that. Arceus would probably wipe the floor with the 1 billion.
Yeah, and like the billion lions, what would they be doing? Like just hanging out in like all of Europe, and then like
right, because lions don't have like they're not like all 1 billion of us get along.
Yeah. And then like any flying Pokemon that has like laser shooting capabilities or fire or whatever, just flying above. It may take hundreds of years, but it would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Rav, if you could feature on any featureless Square song, what would it be? And the same for Square. Oh man,
that's interesting.
Man, that is a good. Okay, Feel Me Once. Yeah, that would be the one for me, where I'd be like, yeah, yo, can I get a verse?
Yo, I mean
I
that's
just wrapped up. I wouldn't even try to sing because like you did such a good job on it singing wise. I just be like, I'll be the one dude who comes through and goes hibbity jibbity ribbity dibbity and bounces.
I mean like it's interesting because the way that your songs and production have come up, I've always kind of like most of the shit that you're on, I'm down to like be like, oh wow, like it's just different and I want it. I really like Silent Pterodactyls. Have you ever? I would put. I mean, you fuckers are asking for this one. That beat is crazy with that song. I think some of the songs that you did with Bill on on New Moon. I remember when I heard those, I was like, man, you know, like maybe they could ask me to be on it. And then y'all asked me to be on a song, and you were like, can you give us some
Can you
ooze
do
and
ooze and
stuff?
ahs?
And I was like, oh, these motherfuckers. Love Drug would be super dope to be on too. That song is so catchy.
Yeah, I feel like you would murder Love Drug. Square, did you produce one off Alphabet Soup? That beat is killer.
No, that was Connor.
Connor.
At the time,
Shout
he went
outs
by
to
Tom
Connor.
Bombadil. I don't know if he still does
Yeah.
as a producer, but he raps as Connor.
Yeah, he just released a project
Mm-hmm.
very recently, like a month or two ago. I don't know. I've lost. track.
He released it in like when did I release? In March. He released it in February.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And he's got a feature from me. He's got a feature from Arrow, a feature from Bill on it. Check it out. You can find it through my Spotify.
Yeah, for sure. That's a
that
dope.
beat was crazy. I
That
remember that.
and on Connor's album, all y'all killed it. But that's like Arrow's verse on that song that Connor was so dope.
Oh yeah, so dope. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Damn, people listening to different Pokemon that would rock the shit out of them. They just mollywop the 1 billion. I get it. Okay, the lines stand no chance. I was just thinking like there's so many they could just suffocate them, but then I remembered, oh yeah, they could just like shift time and flip the world upside down and stuff like that.
Here's one. Hi Square, any tips on balancing full-time work and music production? I think Rav could give this too because he was like working even more than me before he ended up going full-time music. But what I've learned lately is that you're not always going to be inspired. That's just like you can't control when you feel inspired to make good music, but what you can control is to like consistently try to make something because it's like a muscle. And not stress out over the thing you make. I think one mistake I used to make is like every time I made music, I was trying to kind of make something that was like worthwhile, and if I didn't, I'd get down. But if you're continuously making stuff, you keep that muscle going, and then every once in a while you feel like inspired by it, and you don't have to start from like the first building block all over again and get that muscle going. You can just like start creating stuff. So if you're always putting a little bit of work in, I feel like it helps you to be overall productive over time without getting too stressed out about like, is this great or not?
Yeah, no, that's very sound advice. And last question I'm gonna read out from here is cereal soup? It is. Thank you guys so much.
No. Yeah,
coming through.
Brav is a
Appreciate
failure.
y'all. Thank you for having me, Square.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming through.
And we can do these more often. I mean, like, I think once in a while it'd be nice to catch up, and maybe one day, because we sometimes in the past did like EXO kind of Q&A sessions, usually when we drop a project, and we'll have a bunch of EXO members there. Maybe one of these days we could do one on Twitch where we could coordinate it. It's just we're all in different parts of the planet, so it is difficult to sync up our
like time
schedules.
zones and shit.
That could be fun. Yeah, Yeah. Well, anyway,
That would be cool.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for
I'm
coming
gonna
through.
head on out.
All right,
Y'all
man.
have a good time. Make sure that to eat soup for breakfast, and peace. I'm gone.
All right, see ya. Oh no. I'm still here. What did I do? I did everything wrong there. I freaked out. Don't dox me, please. What am I looking for? I'm looking for my video. Let's go back to one. Welcome. I'm gone forever. No, yeah. So thanks everyone coming out. Thanks for following. Thanks for asking questions and sticking around. I think I'm gonna head out too. That was kind of my regular streaming times. I hope I don't fall in the water. Have a great stream, everybody. Or a great, I don't know. I'm so tired. Thanks for coming out. All my friends have got girlfriends.